I don't think he will get back like he was before. I think he's going to have too much pushback, and maybe from the stockholders. And we haven't heard a lot from the stockholders about this. They don't care who's in charge as long as their money's okay.
Major breaking news, and one of the bigger news stories of the week is the fact that your dear friend, your best friend in the world, Dutch Mantell, Vince McMahon, backstage at WWE Raw this past week in Boston, Massachusetts. It was first reported by Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, later confirmed by Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp and PW Insider. PW Insider reported that Vince reportedly was there just to visit John Cena, but he then sat in the gorilla position the whole night. What do you think about all this latest news, with Vince being backstage? And then before that, WrestleVotes was the one that reported that there was a very important person, a very high-profile person within the company, hint, hint, Vince McMahon, who pushed through the idea to do Brock Lesnar versus Omos at WrestleMania 39. So this comes off the heels of Triple H already confirming that Vince would have some input in the creative process. Where do you think we are on the path to Vince maybe eventually getting back into a creative stronghold?
Well, I'm not the arbiter of who has control of WWE, but I don't think he will get back like he was before. I think he's going to have too much pushback, and maybe from the stockholders. And we haven't heard a lot from the stockholders about this. They don't care who's in charge as long as their money's okay. So, but I think if they see their money might be dwindling a little bit, I think there'll be some pushback on that. And I don't see him getting back in that position he was before. It's too much heat on him, and not necessarily from the stockholders. Who broke the story? The New York Post or the New York Times? Who broke that story?
The first original story about Vince was broken by the Wall Street Journal.
I had them both wrong. Don't worry. But we don't even know where that leak came from. We still don't know. I mean, I have my ideas where it come from, but the idea it was leaked to get him out in the first place. Now he went out, then played hardball, said you're either going to put me back in or nothing's going to happen. So I said, okay, we're going to put you back in, because he owns 83% of the voting shares. See, all that confuses me anyway. I don't know, but apparently that he could sit in gorilla position. It's his company anyway, basically. So he can sit wherever he wants to. Who's going to tell Vince no? Vince, tell him to get up. Triple H's not going to tell him that. Nobody's going to tell him that. Because all he can say is you're fired. And I don't know if he could actually still fire people. I'm assuming he can. But I don't think we're going to see Vince back in a position like he was before. Thank God. Because we've seen on the show on Friday nights, we watched SmackDown to where it was awful when he was in charge.
Yeah.
And then when he left, the show slowly, increasingly improved. It got better. So, and people say, well, you think that's Vince? No, that's not Vince. That's without Vince. So when they actually got some fresh ideas in there, now the show is running, it's running on its own power right now. The Bloodline story, and I've been around this business a long time. Very few times have I seen a story handled in such a masterful way. Because people now, they have a reason. The old saying I have is, they'll believe you give them a reason to disbelieve. They believe the story. They believe the story. They like talking about it. Sami Zayn's the perfect guy to have in that position because you kind of feel sorry for him. You kind of felt sorry for him before because you know he was getting set up. And when it come, and remember we used to keep calling, well, they got to pull the trigger. Well, I was saying that they got to pull the trigger. When it kept going and kept going and kept going, but it kept going in such a way that they maintained interest. And now we're going to WrestleMania with it. So my hat's off to Triple H and the creative team, which shows that if they are directed properly, they can come up with some really, really good stuff.
But to be fair to Vince McMahon, or maybe I'm being the devil's advocate here, Vince McMahon set everything up for Triple H. It's just Triple H. In my opinion, it feels more like Triple H has given the power back to the people involved in the angle more than it's him kind of dictating things, because Sami Zayn was already with the Bloodline. He was already kind of in position. The table was already set for him. A lot of this angle has the fingerprints more of Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman kind of having a bigger role in the Bloodline story since Vince's departure.
Well, that's what you used to do anyway. That's old time booking. You let the guys in it read the room. They can tell you what's heat's out there, who's over, who's not, because it's all being directed at them in the center of the ring. They're absorbing all of it. Vince probably didn't give the parties involved enough to say so. And Triple H, now, he has the knowledge to know, give it to the guys that's running the play. It's like football players, our quarterbacks. They know what'll work and what won't work.